Hello, I'm Andrew from Limitless Park, and happy Revenge of the 5th! As if May the 4th isn't enough, Star Wars fans now have 2 official holidays to celebrate. How are they official, you may ask? Well, I just got off the phone with the government, and they said that they'd be sending some people over to sign some documents to make it an official holiday.
FBI, open up!
Yeah, okay, bye. Okay, so good news, bad news. Bad news first. On a completely unrelated note, the FBI showed up to my place and arrested me for money laundering. I guess they've been trying to track me down for years, and my phone call helped them find me. The good news is I'm now on house arrest. And because of that, I now have copious amounts of time to lobby for Revenge of the 5th becoming an official holiday. And while I was on trial, I did get confirmation from the Supreme Court saying that I could make it an official holiday as long as I got permission from Disney. And luckily, the only things Disney's doing with Revenge of the Sith currently is, and also, so they said as long as I'm able to come up with some ways to incorporate Star Wars Revenge of the Sith into the Disney parks, I'd be able to make it an official holiday. Let's do it! Revenge of the Sith is a Star Wars movie. It's not a good Star Wars movie, and it's not a bad Star Wars movie. It's just a Star Wars movie. And that's okay. While it seems to be getting more and more love each year, it wasn't necessarily a slam dunk when it released in 2005. Sure, it was better than the previous 2 prequels, but that didn't mean it came close to the original trilogy. But that didn't stop Disney from wanting to market it as part of their Star Wars Weekends event. Yeah, Disney didn't own Star Wars at the time, but they still had a partnership with Lucasfilm that resulted in different additions to the theme parks, the most notable of which is Star Tours, which was added to Disneyland in 1987. So with the prequels hitting theaters in the late 90s and early to mid 2000s, you can bet that Disney had something special to add to the parks. Kinda. In 2005, to coincide with the release of Revenge of the Sith, Disney held some panels and interviews with different people involved in the movie at the then Disney MGM Studios park, and, well...
Archie, I have a quick question for you, and I know all the ladies in the house would agree with me. How was it working with Hayden Christensen?
Damn, that bad, huh?
Now, on a lighter, more attractive note, what was it like working with Natalie Portman? Oh, yeah.
What? Other than an apparently turned-on R2-D2 and bald guy, the panels had talks about designing General Grievous, some other interviews, and just the usual on-stage festivities that didn't even necessarily relate to just Revenge of the Sith. After this, there wasn't anything explicitly Revenge of the Sith at the parks. Even the Star Tours Adventures Continue revamp in 2011 didn't add much related to the movie, with the exception of a possible visit to the battles on Kashyyyk and Coruscant. At least I get to say this is where the fun begins during the Coruscant one before throwing up from motion sickness. There's so much crap on screen it makes me woozy! And after Disney acquired Star Wars in 2012, there's been a huge focus on building stuff in the parks that reflects their new Star Wars films and shows. I mean, Galaxy's Edge, the giant Star Wars land, is literally canonically supposed to take place between
Episode 8 and Episode 9.
Doesn't mean they're gonna honor that, but still. So I don't think we're gonna see Tion Madan show up there anytime soon. Actually, that might be a good thing. So let's fix all this by adding as much stuff as possible from Revenge of the Sith into the Disney parks and get Disney to approve Revenge of the 5th as a national holiday. Obviously, we gotta make every scene in Star Tours from Revenge of the Sith. No other movies, just good ol' Episode 3. In addition to Kashyyyk and Coruscant, you're flying over Mustafar, Utapau, Mygeedo. It's the planet where the phallic head guy dies. Now that would be a pretty awesome ride. Galaxy's Edge is already pretty mountainy, so just blast a bunch of fog machines in there, remove all the trees, dye any of the water there orange to look like lava, and bam, it looks just like Mustafar. Now, the Millennium Falcon wasn't in Revenge of the Sith, and it definitely hasn't been to Mustafar, so I guess we're gonna have to tear it down and replace it with a Revenge of the Sith ship. Luckily, there's so many cool ships in Episode 3. The Jedi Starfighters, Grievous's ship, Padme's sleek starfighter, so let's go with the Incom Sub-Pro Aggressive Reconnaissance 170 Starfighter. Just look at this thing. Tell me it wouldn't be a good replacement for Smuggler's Run. Tell me. please.
Oh, and I guess we can just tear down Rise of the Resistance completely and make a dark ride through like the Jedi Temple during Order 66 or something. I don't know. Kids would love it.
Family fun!
Now, at Disney World, you gotta have parades, and luckily, Revenge of the Sith gives us a funeral procession for Padme Amidala, everyone's favorite Natalie Portman-looking Star Wars character.
In the movie, she ends up way past dead, and they have a funeral procession parade thing in order to mourn her. So why not let guests to the Magic Kingdom cry about something other than the long lightning lane lines?
I'm sure Disney would rather have the more upbeat celebration from the end of Episode 1 in their parks, but unless they add 2 more ones at the end of that movie name, it ain't happening. Scuff your knee by tripping on the Main Street trolley tracks? Suffering from heat stroke in the barely shaded Toy Story Land? Might I suggest visiting Disney's First Aid, now themed to the medical station on Polis Massa, where Padme gives birth to Luke and Leia.
You telling me you wouldn't want to get a Band-Aid from one of these weird little droids?
This one's easy. Disney is known for their catchy tunes, but sometimes they're too catchy. Case in point, It's a Small World. This is as earwormy as a song can get, so I might suggest replacing that song with dolls singing and chanting along to the Anakin vs. Obi-Wan Battle of Heroes song.
Now that I'd be okay with getting stuck on the ride for. Move over, Judi Dench! General Grievous and his incessant coughing is taking your place.
Revenge of the Sith ends with the Death Star being constructed, so why not showcase that progress? Instead of the history of communication, riders will get to experience the history of the Death Star construction. I know this barely has anything to do with Revenge of the Sith, but I figured we could stretch it mainly because I thought it would be funny for General Grievous to voice Spaceship Earth, and this was the best I could come up with in the 2 minutes I spent thinking of ideas. Give me a break.
I could probably keep going, but I think that's more than enough to share with Disney right now. So why don't we call them up and share our ideas, and then we can get this Revenge of the Fifth holiday on our calendars officially. I was banned from the parks.